Have you ever looked at your cat, peacefully curled up on the sofa, and wondered, don't they get lonely? They're home alone all day while you're at work. Maybe we should get them a friend. Someone to play with. Someone to chase a feather wand with. Sounds like the perfect solution, right? But what if I told you that this decision, made with the absolute best intentions, could become the biggest mistake you'll ever make and turn your peaceful home into a battlefield? Today, we're diving deep into one of the most controversial questions for any cat parent. One cat or two? We'll cover all the pros and cons, debunk the popular myths, and give you a definitive checklist to help you make the right choice. I promise, after watching this video, you'll look at your furry friend through entirely new eyes. To truly understand the feline mindset, let's take a quick look back at history. The wild ancestors of our domestic purr machines, the African wildcats, were committed solitary hunters. They hunted alone, fiercely defended their territory, and interacted with other cats primarily for mating. This instinct for independence and territoriality is hardwired into their DNA. But here's the paradox. Over thousands of years of living alongside humans, cats have evolved significantly. They've learned to live in groups or colonies, especially where food is consistently available, like near human settlements. They have become much more socially flexible creatures. It is precisely this internal conflict between the solitary hunter instinct and acquired sociability that lies at the heart of the entire problem. Your cat is not a wild animal, but neither are they a human who constantly needs company. They are a unique creature, balancing right on the edge of two worlds. Let's start with the most common myth out there. Every cat needs a companion. That statement is a dangerously misleading misconception. Imagine being forced to share a room with a complete stranger, someone you had absolutely no say in choosing. You might get lucky, and you'll become the best of friends. But then again, maybe not. Cats deal with the exact same situation, except they can't just pack their bags and move out. The decision to bring in a second pet should never be based on a general guideline. It must be rooted in the individual factors of your cat, their age, temperament, and history. Ignoring these crucial factors is a surefire way to create chronic stress, not just for both animals, but for you too. Next, we'll dive into how you can determine your cat's social type. Does your pet truly need a friend? Or is it perfectly happy being the sole king or queen ruling its castle? But how can we really tell if our cat is genuinely lonely, since they can't exactly tell us directly? However, they do have their own ways of signalling distress. The first, and most obvious, is destructive behaviour. If you come home to shredded wallpaper, chewed wires, and toilet paper strewn across the apartment, this might not be revenge. It's likely a cry for help. It's the cat's way of releasing pent-up energy and trying to entertain itself. Another clear indicator is excessive vocalization. This includes loud, non-stop meowing even when you are home. Or, as your neighbours might complain, constant howling or crying when you've gone out. Apathy and a loss of interest in favourite toys or games can also signal profound boredom. Some cats might even start excessive grooming, sometimes to the point of creating bald patches or lesions. This is a clear sign of serious stress. If you recognise any of these behaviours, it's definitely time to take a closer look. Let's talk about the perks, and the biggest one, of course, is companionship. Two bonded cats are an endless source of entertainment for each other. They might chase each other across the apartment at 3 in the morning, wrestle over a felt mouse, or simply sit together watching the birds outside the window. This is more than just play. It provides crucial physical and mental stimulation. For a young, energetic cat, having a partner is a fantastic way to burn off energy and direct that attention properly, rather than tearing up your furniture. They learn from one another and mimic behaviour. This activity keeps them in excellent physical condition and helps prevent obesity, which is a common problem for many single, sedentary indoor cats. In essence, you are giving your pet a permanent fitness coach and a sparring partner, all rolled into one. The second crucial social aspect we need to discuss is mutual grooming. You've probably seen cats affectionately licking one another. This is far more than just a hygiene routine. In the feline world, it's the ultimate expression of trust, affection, and bonding. This process is technically called allogrooming, and it plays a vital role in strengthening social bonds within a group. Cats typically groom each other in those hard-to-reach places, like the head and neck, and in doing so, they exchange scents. This action creates a collective shared group odour, which helps them feel like a unified whole, establishing a true sense of family. For cats who spend extended periods by themselves, the lack of this tactile contact can be a serious source of stress. Having a companion who can literally provide that physical reassurance and scratch that itch makes their lives far calmer and much more harmonious. Another, less obvious advantage is mutual learning. Cats are incredibly observant creatures, and they constantly pick up new things just by watching one another. This is particularly evident when you bring a kitten into a home that already has a well-behaved adult cat. The little one will observe their senior companion and quickly figure out where the litter box is, how to use the scratching post instead of the sofa, and what the general house rules are. The adult cat essentially becomes a mentor. But even adult animals benefit from this mutual teaching. For instance, a more timid cat, seeing their brave companion calmly interact with guests, might gradually become more outgoing and trusting over time. They can even pick up each other's eating habits or favourite types of games. It's a sort of cultural exchange program in the feline world. Let's be honest, getting a second cat isn't just a favour to your existing pet. It's also greatly for our own peace of mind. Many owners feel tremendous guilt heading off to work, leaving their beloved companion alone for 8, sometimes even 10 hours. We picture them sitting mournfully by the door, lonely and bored. These thoughts can seriously dampen our mood and cause anxiety throughout the entire day. When there is a second cat at home, that guilt diminishes significantly. You know they aren't alone. They have company. They have someone to occupy their time with. You can work in peace, knowing your pets are probably cuddled up sleeping or having a hilarious burst of energy and chasing each other around. This is a massive source of psychological comfort for the owner, and that factor absolutely should not be overlooked when you're making this big decision. But it's time to take off the rose-tinted glasses and talk about the downsides. The first and most obvious one is money. Keeping just one cat is already a significant expense. Now go ahead and double that. That means double the cost for quality food and litter that will be disappearing twice as fast. It's also yearly vaccinations and parasite control for 2 animals. And what if, God forbid, one of them gets seriously ill? Vet services are expensive, and treating 2 animals can seriously strain your budget. Before bringing home a second pet, sit down and honestly calculate if you are prepared for expenses to at least double. The emotional desire to give your cat a friend should never conflict with your real financial capacity. The second big downside is territorial conflict. Don't forget, cats are highly territorial animals. Introducing a newcomer is essentially an invasion of established territory. The resident cat already has their favourite sleeping spots, established routes around the home, their own food bowl, and their own litter box. And they might not be happy at all about having to share any of it. Conflicts usually arise over essential resources: food, water, the litter box, scratching posts, and most crucially, your attention. To minimise this risk, there's a standard guideline: the number of cats plus 1 rule. This means 2 cats ideally need 3 litter boxes, multiple water bowls strategically placed, several scratching posts, and plenty of secluded resting spots. Is your home truly ready for this kind of infrastructure overhaul? If you live in a small studio, 2 cats might simply feel cramped, which inevitably leads to stress and tension. What if they simply don't get along? This is the most heartbreaking scenario, and unfortunately, it's not as rare as you might think. Personality clashes are a very real problem. You might bring an adorable kitten home to join your adult, perhaps more laid-back cat, and instead of a beautiful friendship, you get an eternal war. The kitten will constantly pester the older cat, trying to play, and the older one will spend all its time hiding, hissing, and experiencing chronic stress. Or maybe you adopt 2 adult cats, both with firmly established personalities, and they just can't agree to share the territory. Living in a state of perpetual conflict is miserable. It's pure torture for the animals involved. This can lead to serious behavioural issues, like inappropriate marking or spraying all over the house, and even stress-related health problems, such as feline cystitis. So what do you do in that situation? Rehome one of them. That decision is incredibly traumatic for everyone involved. The health factor is another crucial thing people often overlook. With 2 cats, you effectively double your risks. Many feline illnesses, particularly viral ones, are highly contagious. If one cat catches something like calicivirus or rhinotracheitis, there's a 99% chance the other one will get it too. The same principle applies to parasites. Think fleas, ear mites and worms. You'll have to treat both animals simultaneously. This instantly doubles both the cost of treatment and the stress you experience. Furthermore, if one of your cats has a chronic condition requiring a specialised diet, feeding time becomes significantly more complex. You'll need to feed them in separate rooms and meticulously monitor them to ensure they aren't sampling food from the wrong bowls. This requires additional time and effort, and it's something you must be prepared for up front. So, when exactly is a single cat the best option? Let's dive into some specific scenarios. The first and most important scenario involves a cat with a complicated history. If you've adopted a rescue from the street or a shelter, one that has experienced abandonment, cruelty, or a long, arduous struggle for survival, it needs time to adjust and learn to trust again. For a cat like this, your home is often the first genuinely safe territory it has ever known. Introducing a competitor could easily be perceived as a threat to this new, fragile sense of peace. This type of pet can be perfectly content and happy being the sole focus of your love and attention. They don't need the company of other cats. They need your patience, calmness, and predictability. Don't rush to rescue them from loneliness. Chances are a little solitude is exactly what they need right now. Another important factor to weigh is breed tendencies. While personality is always individual, certain cat breeds are known for their self-sufficiency. For instance, British Shorthairs are often described as highly independent and don't necessarily crave the company of other cats. They enjoy human presence, but strictly on their own terms, and are perfectly happy being the sole pet in the household. Similarly, Persian cats, known for their calm and placid temperaments, may not appreciate an overly active or intrusive new housemate. Before bringing home a second animal, take the time to research your current cat's breed characteristics. While this isn't a 100% guarantee, it certainly provides crucial insight and extra information for your decision-making process. Age is a huge factor. Introducing a small, energetic kitten to a senior cat, one who's perhaps 10 or 12 years old or more, is, in the vast majority of cases, a terrible idea. Imagine a retiree who suddenly has to share their home with a hyperactive teenager blasting loud music. Senior pets need peace, stability, and a calm, predictable lifestyle. They may suffer from aching joints, they sleep a lot, and they simply don't want to participate in rowdy games. The kitten, however, will constantly pester them, jump on them, and try to drag them into play, which will only cause the old cat intense irritation and stress. This level of stress can seriously undermine the health of a senior animal. If you already have an elderly pet and want to bring home another animal, it's usually best to wait. Finally, let's take a hard, honest look at ourselves and our lifestyle. How much time do you actually spend at home? How much square footage do you really have? If you live in a tiny studio apartment and are constantly buried at work or travelling, 2 cats might create far more problems than joy. They may simply feel cramped, which will inevitably lead to territorial disputes. Plus, you might not have the time or energy to give both pets the attention they truly need. While cats can definitely keep each other busy, they still require significant interaction and bonding time with their owner. If your limited attention is split between 2, and you're short on time to begin with, one cat may end up feeling neglected or left out. Sometimes it's better to shower all your love and resources on a single cat, rather than spreading yourself too thin trying to accommodate 2 when your living conditions aren't ideal. Alright, let's assume you've weighed all the downsides and you're still seriously considering getting a second cat. The big question is, how do you know your resident pet is actually ready for this huge adjustment? Start by observing their personality. If your cat is young, highly active, playful, constantly seeking your attention, and literally glued to you when you're home, that's a strong indicator. It likely means they genuinely need more stimulation and interaction than you can provide. Another plus, if they are friendly towards guests and don't show aggression toward other animals, whether they see them through the window or outside. However, if your cat is a clear introvert, spending most of the time hiding, avoiding strangers, and reacting poorly to even minor changes in the house, bringing in a new roommate could be a genuine disaster for them. In that scenario, you should focus your efforts on enriching their current environment instead of looking for a companion. If you've decided to take the plunge, who makes the best pairing? Thankfully, there are several golden rules that dramatically increase your chances of success. The ideal scenario is adopting 2 kittens from the same litter. Since they grew up together and already have a strong, established bond, they'll find it much easier to adapt to their new home. If you already have a young, playful cat, male or female, a kitten of the opposite sex is a great choice. An adult cat is less likely to view a youngster as serious competition for territory. Furthermore, opposite-sex animals, especially when both are spayed or neutered, generally experience fewer conflicts than same-sex pairs. The riskiest option is attempting to introduce 2 adult cats who already have firmly established personalities and routines. While certainly possible, this route will demand significantly more time, patience, and specialized knowledge from you. Introducing 2 cats is the most critical phase of the process. Never, and I mean never, bring the new cat home and simply release him into the room with your resident cat, saying, "Go on, make friends." That is a recipe for guaranteed disaster. A proper introduction must be a slow, gradual, step-by-step process. You need to start with complete isolation. The new cat, the newbie, should be set up in a separate room for several days, perhaps even a week. Make sure this room has everything he needs: food, water, a litter box, and toys. During this time, the cats will get acquainted through scent. You can swap their bedding or pet them sequentially using the same towel or blanket. They can hear each other and smell one another, but they cannot see each other. This allows them to adjust to the presence of the other animal without direct conflict. Only once they stop reacting nervously to the scent are you ready to move on to the next phase. The next phase is all about visual contact, but without the risk of a physical confrontation. You can crack the door open into the room where the newcomer is, but make sure the doorway is blocked by a barrier, like a screen door, a glass door, or even simple baby safety gates. The cats will be able to see and sniff each other through the barrier, but they won't be able to attack. At this point, paying close attention to their body language is crucial. A little bit of gentle hissing, flattened ears, or raised fur along the back of the neck are all normal reactions. This doesn't mean they'll never become friends. It's simply their way of saying, "I see you, stranger, and I'm feeling a little stressed out." Your job is to create positive associations with these meetings. Feed them high-value treats on both sides of the barrier. Play with them. You should only worry if one of the cats exhibits intense, non-stop aggression, growling, howling, or aggressively lunging at the barrier. If that happens, you need to take a step back and return to scent swapping only. But what if you've decided a second cat just isn't an option for you, yet that persistent guilt about your bored pet simply won't go away? Fortunately, there are tons of great alternatives. First, enrich your cat's environment. Cats absolutely thrive on vertical space. Install multi-level cat trees, wall shelves, and cozy hiding spots. This gives your feline friend new territories to explore and observe the world from above. Second, introduce interactive toys and puzzle feeders. These are designed to make your cat think and hunt for their food. It provides fantastic mental stimulation that can tire them out just as effectively as physical exercise. Third, and this is truly crucial, dedicate time for active, focused play with your pet every single day. A focused 15 to 20-minute session right before bedtime, using a wand toy or a laser pointer, can genuinely work miracles. Ultimately, your dedicated quality attention is far more important to your cat than a hypothetical companion who might not even end up getting along with them. So, let's summarise. There is no one-size-fits-all answer to the question, one cat or two. It all depends on a variety of factors. Before you make a decision, ask yourself a few key questions. What is my cat's personality like? How old is she? Am I ready for the double financial commitment? Is my home big enough to comfortably house two animals? Do I have the time and patience for a long, proper introduction process? And the most important question of all, am I doing this for the cat or for myself? Perhaps to ease a sense of guilt. Be honest with yourself. Sometimes the best thing you can do for your beloved one and only pet is to keep them just that, your one and only. And sometimes the best thing is to give them a best friend for life. The choice is entirely up to you. This is the difficult choice every owner faces. The biggest twist in this whole discussion is that our human ideas of loneliness and companionship are vastly different from a cat's perspective. We often think we're rescuing them from boredom, but in reality, we might be disrupting their calm, predictable world. The main takeaway here is clear. There is no single, universally correct decision. There is only the solution that is right for your specific cat, in your specific circumstances. Take your time, observe your pet closely, and listen to their needs rather than focusing on your own emotions. And remember that your love, care, and attention are the most valuable things you can offer, whether you have one cat or 5. Thank you so much for watching this video all the way to the end. I truly hope you found it useful. If so, please don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss future videos. Now for the most important question for you, how many cats do you currently have? And how have their relationships developed? Share your stories in the comments below. Your experience could be invaluable to others.